Alright, here's your video on how to make your 125 look like this bike. First of all, I just took the fender here and then up underneath the 4 holes. I just kind of lined it up and guessed test and drilled holes to make it fit. It wasn't really that hard, just be careful so you don't drill too many holes close to each other so they don't get too big for the bolt to fit and make the fender sloppy. The fork guards bolted right up, I'm pretty sure. And the number plate, I can't remember if that one did or not. I think I had to end up zip tying it on. There were some zip ties I think around the triple clamps, and maybe I drilled a hole through the front, but I can't remember. I wish I still had the bike so I could just go look at it and show you. The shrouds, I lined that bolt up at the tank on the 125, and then I lined it right here along the seat so it'd have the right lines. And then this hole I ended up tapping into this frame right here. Let's see, right where this one goes, except for I tapped it over there and made its own mount. And then this bolt I don't think lined up. I might have zip tied that one on. I'm pretty sure I did, which you can't really tell as long as you do it from the inside. On the shroud there's a little bit of an indent, and if you drill a hole in the back side of that, you can zip tie it through the hole in the radiator where it threads into, so you can't even see the zip tie. It won't even go around the shroud or anything like that. And then the seat bolt, if you put the side panel on right there and align it however, and then get the airbox cover up there, do it to where this all fits, and then your shroud will overlap, and then you got to measure that, and then like I think it was right in here somewhere. I cut it here and cut it there, so I took like a 2-inch section out of the shroud. It's not the same on both shrouds, so don't cut both of them the same size if you end up doing it, because one side will be longer or shorter. I can't remember which side's which, but and then the fiberglass thing, if you get on YouTube, I'm sure you can find a video on how to do it. Basically, you just mix the stuff and then you get the little fiberglass things and you lay it across it. I did it on the back side of it. The back side of the shroud, fiberglass it together, that way you couldn't see it. And then once you put the decal on the shroud, you won't even be able to see it at all. And it held up pretty well. As long as you do it right and let it set, as long as it's supposed to, it'll hold up fine. I thought about using a staple gun and stapling the shroud so it'd be like a stitching. I don't know, but the guy that helped me said he didn't want to do it or didn't think it'd be a good idea. I don't remember. So that's the shroud and the front end. And then for the back fender and the side panel, that was pretty difficult. I ended up taking the subframe to a machine shop and he put it in a press, and he pressed right there on the subframe and shrunk it in a little bit so that the back fender would fit down in it and not like be stupid. Let's see, what else did I have to do? The seat was fine. The seat mounts on the seat itself were fine. What I had to do is I had to put about a 1/2-inch bushing. Like I'd put the seat on and then there'd be the bolt, but there'd be like a bushing in it, so the side panel would be further in than like the seat would actually be. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you just play around with it, you'll understand it. And then, let's see. Under here, I don't know if you can see that very well. On the back fender, the black piece right there is actually the stock fender, but it's cut because these holes, the rear fender will only go so far down, but it'll expose the airbox. So what I did is I took the regular fender and I bolted it up right here. I measured how far up I needed to go before the back fender would come down and cover the airbox, so it wouldn't be just open and throwing dirt into it. And then I cut it with the sawzall straight across, and then put the rear fender in there so they meet, and you can't really even tell. I wish these pictures were better. I took them with my cell phone. I should have taken more, but I'll see if there's any better ones online. This is my Facebook page. These are like the only other pictures I've got of the bike. Let's see. Yeah, you can't really tell there. Alright. So that was the rear fender. You kind of take the stock one that does fit, and those holes will just mount up, obviously, because that's what it's for. Cut it, bada boom, bada bing. And then let's see, there's more to that one, but I can't remember. The side panels, these I lined up, I'm pretty sure, with the subframe itself, and we tapped into the subframe just above, let's see, where's the bike? We tapped into the subframe about here, just above wherever that fits, and once you put the side panel up here and align it with this, and it aligns with the seat, the airbox cover aligns with the seat, you'll see where it needs to go onto here, and you can just tap that and that'll bolt right up. And then the rear, the insides of the side panels were kind of a bitch. I took a Dremel with a round grit, sort of like that shape, and I had to cut on the inside. I don't know if there's any pictures of the inside, but there's like little, right along here, there's like a thing where it sits on the pipe, and you can't have those. I don't remember why. I think they were hitting the subframe, but you have to grind those back. Like, you got to take off like the whole strip on the back side of the shroud right here, and just cut like, I think, an inch off or whatever. Just keep cutting it until it fits. Once you start doing it, you'll get into it and you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of, you just got to play around with it, really. I think there was some cutting to do on the fender because it's really thick right through here, and I had to cut up into it. Basically, if you just start playing with it, you'll get it. I mean, I did. I mean, it's not too bad, but you just kind of got to know what you're doing with it. I started looking at this. This is an O2, and I think everything should fit because the plastics just look different. The frame and everything looks fairly similar. I don't know the differences because I've never had one, but I think it'll still work out pretty much the same. Same with the airbox covers. I had a cut on those too, like the side panels on the insides. I had to cut those a little. I'm trying to think of what else what you'd want to know. What other plastics? Fork guards, front fender, just drill the bottoms out. Number plates, zip tie that one on. Actually, I still have the number plate. I don't know why I just sold that, and I was like, yeah, hey, can I have my number plate? And he's like, sure. So I just kept that. But there's no holes right on it. I wonder what I did with the damn thing. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, see down here, those just went in, and then I zip tied that across, and then I must have just zip tied it to the subframe, or not the subframe, but the triple clamp somehow. Just kind of play around with it, you'll figure it out. And then, let's see. Yeah, I think they went to the bar mounts too. I think those two loops, from the back side of the number plate, I think went to each bar mount is what I think I did. And then, excuse me, the bottom of it just went into the fender like it's supposed to. So that was pretty easy. I had to cut, another thing is I had to drill my own holes into these shrouds because there isn't one way down here. That one I just covered up with a graphic, I think. I just took, because if you get graphics for the shroud, you'll have all this extra graphic for it. What I did is I put a little chunk, cut out a little circle, and put it down over that hole. And then once you put the shroud graphic on, it'll cover it up, so there won't even be a hole there. So it'll basically hide it. And then for these ones, you're gonna have to just fiberglass your shroud, cut it, whatever, get to fit, and then drill your own little hole for that one. But it'll mount up. Just make sure you just, take your time, do it right. So I think I explained that bolt. That bolt just mounts right up, and then tap that one, zip tie that one. Let's see. This one will line up. This one will go tapped into your subframe, and then it'll line up pretty well up there, and that'll click together. So just put your shroud on. Well, basically get this pressed so your back fender will fit once you've dremeled it out. Align it all, and then get your ass end on there, and then put your shroud on. You'll see where it overlaps, and then just measure how far it overlaps. Cut it, cut the chunk out, fiberglass it. And then the fiberglass on the back side and the graphic on the front side should hold it pretty well. I rode the piss out of mine, and they never broke or cracked or anything. I did notice in like I mean, if it was like 100 degrees outside, then they'd get a little soft, so you'd have to watch it, because I mean, the fiberglass would get hot. And then I think that's about it. Basically, just Dremel this, get along the subframe, it'll work. Once you press the subframe in, this should line up, this crease right here should line up pretty well. Mine was up a little bit just because how it works. There's another guy that did it on YouTube, and his was up just a tiny bit more than mine, I think. Plus, mine's in a driveway that slants down, so it looks like it's higher than it really is. Because once you're riding it, it doesn't. I mean, it sticks up a little bit, I suppose, but nothing too gnarly. Let's see, more pictures of it. Yeah, see there, it's not too bad. I think my seat was broken, so it didn't set all the way down on the fender. See, as you can see, it'll just line up, the airbox and everything will line up along the seat, and then you should be pretty good to go. Trying to think what else I got. Well, I think that's about all I can think of. If you need any other help or any other questions, just email me or whatever, and I'll be glad to help you out. Alright, best of luck to you. Happy holidays.